This is Hannibal here from the Hannibal TV on YouTube with a daily wrestling news update. John Cena's final match coming up in Washington in December. Tickets are going to be as much as $11,500. TKO actually flaunt that they're not family oriented, feel that Vince McMahon was too family oriented. And there's a good example as far as who his opponent can be. Some people, here's some big speculation. Some people are saying, well, it's going to be Batista because it's in Batista's hometown, and Batista never had a retirement match. That would be cool. Who knows if that would happen? Other people are saying Edge's contract. I guess he had a 2-year contract with AEW, which expires at the end of this month. And Cena and Edge were like hinting, or they were putting each other over recently. And here's an interesting thing: Edge. Here's one thing to lead that might not happen because Edge's contract is right about to end, and he's still on AEW TV. Chris Jericho hasn't wrestled for like 8 months, and he's making six million a year and just sitting at home. So he's not appearing. I would say there's an excellent chance, and I agree with him that he should just sit at home, collect your paycheck, then go to WWE. Because AEW got their lowest Dynamite rating of all time this week, 0.09 rating, under 500,000 viewers, and the crowd was crap as well. NXT did bad too, only a 0.10, which was one of their lowest ratings in a while. Considering this was the big TNA versus NXT feud, that's not good. And we keep hearing TNA is expecting to get a big new TV deal. I think they could get a better deal than whatever they have now with WWE's help. But TNA has not released a rating in a very long time. I would even venture to guess almost a year. And when you don't release a rating, from my understanding, that means you got under a 0.01 rating. So TNA does not get good ratings. Wow, Women of Wrestling actually beats TNA in ratings, even though they never get any credit. And from what I understand, WoW also beats Collision a lot of the time. So I mean that's obviously beautiful girls wrestling. It has wide appeal. Actually, one of the girls from WoW, one of my favorite women wrestlers, Jasmine Allure, who used to be in SWE Fury as well. I think she's a future star. She had a match in Juggalo Championship Wrestling that I posted today, so it's good to see her on board with JCW because I've obtained the rights to air a lot of her matches over the years, and I truly believe she has great future potential and is a nice person. I've interviewed her before too. Also, the interesting thing is AEW has hired back on draw. They're a big surprise for their six. By the way, that lowest Dynamite was also their 6-year anniversary show. They brought back Andrade, who had just been fired by WWE. They've used other guys that have been released by WWE before, such as Rusev, Malachi Black, William Regal. None of them have really got over much. Apparently, according to Meltzer, the reason why they're bringing Andrade back is for the Mexico crowd. It seems like both companies care more than ever about Mexico. But here's the thing, and I just interviewed Vampiro, one of the biggest stars in the history of Mexican wrestling, last weekend. He, by the way, he's in JCW now too. He's returned. And they're coming here to Wichita, by the way, October 28th, and they're currently touring all around the United States. So check them out. If I'm going to be interviewing the owner, Violent J, on my birthday, October 16th, who is a great guy. Really like him. But anyways, AEW and WWE both had discipline problems with Andrade. He's coming back for like the Mexico reason. What Vampiro said is these companies want to charge more money than ever and get bigger TV deals than ever. That kind of money you can't charge in Mexico because people are used to paying very little for AAA and CMLL tickets. So you guys are so focused on Mexican wrestling that you're turning off so many American and Canadian fans. How many shows has WWE put on in Canada this year? Not even a handful. Why do you care so much about Mexico when there's a lot more money with Canadians, for instance? There was not even a WWE show in Alberta this year. There wasn't one in Saskatchewan. I don't know if there was one in BC. There was none in Manitoba, WWE or AEW. There was none on the East Coast. It's like they've both given the middle finger to Canada, and it's just a fact. Canadians have more money overall than Mexicans, so it's like why? And honestly, the Mexican product, it's we've seen it. It's very choreographed, very flippy. I mean, I'm not a fan of it. And it's funny. I actually was watching one of Logan Paul's interviews recently, and he's talking about what a great wrestler he is, how good he is at his craft, and how he wants to keep developing his craft. To me, part of being a great wrestler, and I know it doesn't matter anymore, but it's like the suspension of disbelief. And yeah, Logan Paul can perform flips and stuff, but he hasn't mastered the art of making you believe it's real. He's a great promoter and stuff, but one of the reasons I don't care about his matches is because I've seen his big moves look set up. His big moves look set up, and I haven't believed he's been in any feud where there's been heat. And even Mustafa Ali, I mean, he was doing an interview talking about this TNA versus NXT feud that has no steam. They just got a terribly low rating. He's talking about, oh, it was so great to be back getting advice for Shawn Michaels on my promo. And Shawn Michaels and the writers were giving me great feedback. Could you imagine Randy Savage switching over to WCW or something and just saying, oh, it's been great. Eric Bischoff's really been helping me with my promos. He's really teaching me how to lay it into Ric Flair. It's just they don't try and hide at all that it's choreographed. And the way they talk makes me not interested at all in the product. Sting's son made his debut last night at an art gallery show in New York. There's no question AEW. And another thing with Andrade, Dave Meltzer put this up. They have people like Britt Baker sitting at home doing nothing for 9 months. There's a whole list of AEW wrestlers. I would say probably over 30 people that don't even use. Oh, let's hire Andrade. Let's put this guy that's been a discipline problem. Hey, let's reward him by putting him on TV. Instead, for instance, let me say this as my Booker side. For the 6th anniversary, if you had done, hey, Britt Baker, and I'm not even a Britt Baker fan. I don't think she's bad, though she has good hits on my channel in her match against Tessa Blanchard that's on this channel that I have got the rights from PCW Ultra to post. It's like for your 6th anniversary show, say, hey, Britt Baker's coming back. Chris Jericho's coming back. He's under contract anyways. Why not just use those guys instead of like hiring Andrade? Because, oh, the Mexican fans will like that. Well, what about the Canadian fans? The Canadian fans would love to see Jericho back. And he's already under contract. I know he got stale. And I know I don't even know how he feels about me, but it just seems like why is he, it annoys me that he's sitting on the bench where he could make wrestling better. I would rather see the companies make wrestling better because wrestling, there's a lot of people in denial right now, but it's on a downward swing. That is the fact. It is going down in interest, and that's not good for my business. I want people to like wrestling. When AEW first came, there was a lot of people interested. Now that's really flattened out. So I'm just speaking how I feel about the product. I want them all to do well. I don't want to see companies go out of business. I want them to thrive, but they keep doing the same thing and expect different results. We need a company. I mean, Juggalo Championship Wrestling, it's the closest we got to ECW right now. There's some things they do that ECW would never have done. But one thing I really like about it, for instance, is it's far from corporate. The people running it are very passionate, and they will use misfits that corporate companies will never hire. I think we need more companies like that to pop up. That's just my opinion. And in other news, The Rock's movie, The Smashing Machine, about Mark Kerr. Apparently, it's on track to make about 6 million for its first week at the box office. It's on track to make about 6 million. It costs 50 million to make. I think over time it'll definitely make 50 million back. And well, people might not want to go and see it in the actual theaters. There was only 4 or 5 people when I went to see it opening day. I do think that people will watch it on Netflix or whatever platform it's going to go on. Well, I've interviewed Mark Kurz a bunch of times. The first time I interviewed him, they didn't know where it was going to air. The second time, he thought it was going to air on Netflix, and I do think when that movie goes to streaming, a lot more people are probably going to watch it. Ivan Santos from Puerto Rico is a fan of Andrade. Frank, I know that I guess you were born then too, but who else? Kenny Omega and I share a birthday. And that scummy slime ball, just incredible, and Missy Hyatt. Those are the wrestlers that had that birthday. But as I said, I really like Violent J. I always was a fan of several of their songs. I sing Clan Posse's like the Great Malenko and stuff too. But what I admire about him is the passion. He's funding JCW out of his own money. He's doing it out of passion. So I would suggest to support it and give ideas to him. Tell him, oh, I don't like this. I want to see more than this, more of this. There's some things I really like about the company, and there's some wrestlers in that company, such as, for instance, Big Al and Haley J, two of their top female wrestlers. I think they have bright futures. It seems like they're recruiting Jasmine Allure. They use some people that are still technically under contract to AEW, I believe. I've seen some people like Colt Cabana in there. I don't know if Colt Cabana has been released. They use GCW talent. It's like an indie fed, but it's got some money behind it and pretty good production values. They have giants. They have hugely fat people. They have little people. It's quite interesting. The documentary, The Smashing Machine, was depressing. The movie looks better. I saw the documentary the day before I saw the movie, and I can honestly say I liked the documentary better because it was less dread. To me, in the movie, there was some scenes where they want, and again, I'm not, obviously not a big drama person. I'm a man, I'm a jock, and a horror movie fan. There was some dramatic scenes in there regarding The Rock as Mark Kerr overdosing, issues with the wife trying to kill herself, and so forth. Scenes with The Rock in the hospital that, to me, I mean, they weren't as dragged out in the actual documentary. Which, by the way, Mark Coleman. One thing I did like Ryan Bader's performance for his first acting job. He acted well, but he didn't bring like the personality of Mark Coleman, who's a real character. I think they lost that. I think the character of Mark Coleman was better as himself in the original Smashing Machine. It's cool to see. I think The Rock did a good job. But one thing is, like, they do make Mark Kerr sound like he talks like a bit of a developmentally delayed guy at some points, and other points, The Rock talks more like The Rock. But it's like I don't. I think at some points they exaggerate the way that Mark Kerr talks a little bit because he doesn't talk as abnormal as they portray him to at some point. But again, I would give the movie over a 70% rate. I don't think everyone's like, oh, he's really going a different direction with this character. I mean, this is like just an ultimate fighter and a wrestler. I mean, Well, the sports have some similarities, and one is worked, one isn't. They're both rough, and the characters. I find wrestlers in general have bigger egos than Ultimate Fighters, but the personalities are both similar. They're both competitive. They both have egos because I mean to be in an individual sport, it's similar. And in Ultimate Fighting, there are some exceptions, but like both Ultimate Fighters and wrestlers, a lot of the time, at least in the Mark Kerr era, they were wild because like if you're into that kind of extreme sport type of thing, you got to have a wild side and you party like a wild man. So they didn't show enough partying. That's one. They talked about partying in the movie. I think they should have shown more. That's one thing for sure. Alice Crowley, Big Al. Yeah, I mean, she to me she has potential. And I am interviewing Haley J on October 7th, and I am going to be interviewing Alice Crowley soon as well. So make sure you subscribe to the Hannibal TV, and the full JCW episodes are is on ICP's channel. But especially leading into their tour this month, I'll be posting a lot of the individual matches and promos. And again, I really am I still wrestling? I don't think I'm finished. I've gone through a hell of a lot, a hell of a lot, enough to write a book on, and I am writing a book on it, both physically and mentally over the past 3 years. But I've gone up, I've made it to the top of the mountain, and I'm going back down and getting through all the negative stuff that's happened in my life, so I could focus on stuff like wrestling now. So I think you probably will see me wrestle again. And also, my movie's coming out by Halloween, Blood Hunter Thirst and Rage, that features Tank Abbott, very good friend of mine, who I actually like a lot. Tank Abbott is one of the nicest people I've met in MMA or wrestling. Chat with him a lot, very down to earth guy. Deeran Malibu McBee, great guy. Shoot, Frank Jasper. Hey, there's three guys that I actually find extremely nice and are good people and have been good to me, and I'm proud to have them in the movie Shoot, which this is kind of like the biggest acting thing he's done since Vision Quest. So that's pretty damn cool. I'm looking forward to the movie coming out. It's been a long time in the making. Plus, there's the giant and a lot more surprises, beautiful women, and that's all coming out by October. Frank says many people are making a big deal about The Rock's weight loss. Look at him on, I think it was Jimmy Fallon a couple nights ago. He's massive. Okay, so he's not Mark Kerr's size anymore. He's still maybe a little smaller than Brock Lesnar, but The Rock has an amazing physique. The only thing, I mean, he talked on that Jimmy Fallon show is the producers wanted him to put on 30 or 40 pounds, I think, or maybe it was 20 to 30 pounds. And he was already huge to begin with. They didn't ask any more details on how he did that when he was already kind of maxing to the extreme. But I would say he may have been bigger in that movie with Mark Wahlberg where they were doing that movie about gym where they were all taking gear. Um, he was similar to that size, but he's huge. He looks to me to be over 250 still. To me, and yeah, the bigger you are, the worse it is for your heart. Look at Batista, and look at the guys that were the size of Hercules Hernandez and the animals of the world and the hawks of the world. They didn't really live that long. So you want to take good care of yourself. And Daniel, I appreciate it. I'm doing great. It's a beautiful day outside there. I'm going to go do some training soon. I hear it's a nice day in Ontario, Canada today, too. So I wish everyone a good day all around the world. Let me know your thoughts on the wrestling world in general. in the comments and let me know if any of you are going to pay 11,500 American. Let's look at first of all, we'll end on this. Let's see what that is in Canadian. Let's look this up. Cuz trust me, I know what the conversion is. Buying food here in the US, when you make Canadian dollars, you can really see what the conversion is. You can really feel it. So that is 16,614.75 before surcharges. So almost $17,000 Canadian if you want to see um, John Cena's retirement. Pain and gain. Yeah, pain and gain. I think you guys let me know what you think, but I think The Rock is bigger in pain and gain than he was in this. But he's got a great physique and he's in his 50s. He's 10 years older than me. So I'm far from finished too. Hulk Hogan foul play. I really don't know. I don't know. But I guess it was his time. The interesting thing is, though, Billy Graham outlived Hulk Hogan by 9 years. Remember when Hulk Hogan accused Billy Graham of being a drug abuser? Well, Billy Graham outlived him by 9 years. The one-man gang is a medical miracle. Well, I don't think the one-man gang ever drank or did drugs, either performance-enhancing drugs or regular drugs. I mean, I really don't think so. And by the way, as I said, you guys can ask me about anyone, anytime. The one man gang is a nice person. I will tell you guys straight up who's nice. Mark Coleman, who I actually talked to after I saw the movie, Smashing Machine, also a very nice guy. We keep making the point 11K for 5 matches. Actually, well, again, we'll go by the Canadian $17,000 to watch 5 matches. Triple H likes these 5 match cards. To me, you got to have at least 7 matches. I don't think I ever had less than 7 matches on a Great North Wrestling event. Will they do a Hulk Hogan Dark Side of the Ring, Ivan? Well, The Rock's company is the ones that puts those out. So you'd have to ask The Rock. Those are produced by $7 Entertainment. That's why you're never going to see anything too bad related to WWE because he's a shareholder in WWE. So it's not like they're going to do one on the Ring Boy scandal. They did do one on the steroid scandal and McMahon, but a lot of people wanted McMahon out. So it remains to be seen. I still think the Janelle Grant thing could be settled. I still think it could be settled because we haven't heard anything from Janelle Grant's camp for about 2 months now. Thanks, Betrayed by Sin. Have a great afternoon.